Hello, my name is Eamon Kelly, and I'm going to guide you through the A-Level IT 9626 2017 October paper 4 and the animation section, which is question 2. We're going to use Adobe Animate. Okay, just to watch the animation beforehand, and again, people or students who are also studying different courses could also use this here. So this is the animation first of all. So we've got Rock ICT coming in white from opposite corners. The R changes to red. Fades out. Text the best comes in, fades out. The logo you've created in the first one, the guitar, comes in small and then grows in size and fades out, and then repeats. So again, some of the skills we'll cover in this here for students who are not doing the exam, just read through these here if you want to pause the screen. And again, recommendations I always make is that students highlight the exam paper, read through the questions fully first of all, and highlight the paper a little bit like what I've done here. I also use a notepad. You could also just take notes on a blank piece of paper. So I have calculations and so on done beforehand. By taking notes, it also helps to calm a student if they're a little bit nervous about the paper. Just at the very end here, also I have a little note in here. There's a video here that's very, very useful for understanding keyframes, frames, blank keyframes, and so on. So if you want to just type this into YouTube, you'll find this video. Okay, so looking at the exam paper, first of all, I'm not going to read down through all of this here because I want to make the video as quick as possible. But you might just, again, pause the screen, read it yourself if you don't have the paper, read through it, and make sure that you understand what you need to do. It's also important that you don't start the animation because you may be down as far as this point here when you realize the letter R should change in color. So if you can decide this from the very beginning. Okay, so I'm going to go straight over to Adobe Animate, and this is a screen that you're likely to have. I'm going to choose HTML5 canvas. I'm going to go over here, and this is the title that I'm going to I need to save it as. So the Rock ICT center number and candidate number. So I'm going to go File, Save As. And I've created my folder here, exam, with center number and candidate numbers for all my exam files. Again, save you doing it at the very end if you've created from the beginning. And it's going to be a FLA file, and it's going to overwrite the one I've already worked with. Okay, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to use on the right hand side the hand tool and just move this into place. Then I'm going to look at the canvas size. On the right hand side I've got properties. If you don't have this panel here, you just go to Windows and you pick properties. So we're going to work with the size first of all. So the size was 512 by 288. Control C here. The size, Control V by 288. Next, I'm going to go to the frames per second. I'm going to change this from 24, which is default. Down here at the bottom, you'll see also that it's kind of faded out, but it's 24. And seconds here. If you want to continue working with that, that's fine. I prefer to change it to 30. I just find it's easier when it comes to calculations. And again, you can, as I say, work at the bottom. Next, what I need to do, the stage should be black. So I click on black here. I'm going to go over to my layer, and I'm actually going to give this a name. So background, and I'm going to lock this here. Back over to the question paper, I have to bring in Rock, ICT, it should be white, 24 points. And it appears after 2 seconds. So 2 layers, 1, 2. Rock, ICT. I'm going to insert here at this point here. I'm going to, Control Z. See how easy it is to make a mistake. Okay, I'm going to highlight the 2 of those. Okay, this time yes. And we're going to insert our keyframe here. And you see at the moment, because of the circles which are empty or blank, these are blank keyframes at the moment, but we're going to put our text in. So in here, I'm going to insert a text. Back over to look at the text again, white 24. So text, okay, it's 24 already. color is white, so you might need to change this in your application. Okay, so R-O-C-K. I'm going to go over to the right hand side selection to resize this here. Move this into place here. Okay, I have my guides from it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, because I know this has to move into the center, I need to convert this to a symbol. So Control, convert to symbol. I'll call this rock as well. And I also need to, this is now a symbol. I need to, the tween I'm going to use is a motion tween. So it's now a motion tween. I'm going to do the very same with the ICT. So back over to the right hand side, text, ICT, selection tool, resize, oops, and move this into place here. Okay. And right click on this here. I need to convert to symbol again because it's also going to move. I'm going to type ICT. Okay. And I'm going to still select it. I'm going to click motion tween. Now we said these have to move into the center. And it'll take 3 seconds to move into the center. So again, I'm going to click on this here. Insert keyframe. Insert keyframe. Okay, so clicking on the rock ICT. And this needs to, by the last one, needs to move here. Okay, and the path is showing. I'm going to, just to align it to the center, I'm clicking on the, just over beside properties on align. I want to center a little bit. And I'm going using the left arrow key just to move a little bit left because I also need to bring ICT to the center. Okay, I'm now clicking on the ICT. I'm clicking on the same frame and I'm going to move this in here. So you see the frame here is also on the timeline is also highlighted. And the two come in together. Okay, good. Just clicking on this, I see this here. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, the R in rock should change to R, but I'm going to actually create a new layer for this here. I'm going to lock, I won't lock these at the moment. I'm going to create a new layer on the ICT here. New layer, and I'm going to just call this, I'm clicking on the frame here. I'm going to call this one here, maybe just at this point here, just moving over one. I'm going to call this red R. I need to show this keyframe, insert a keyframe here. Okay, and now we need to put something into the keyframe. So I'm going to click on the text on the right hand side. It's going to be 24 points as well. I'm going to go to red, type R, selection tool, resize the text box, and then move it into place. So move it into place over the, maybe before I move it into place, I'm going to convert this to a symbol. And we call this again red R. Okay. Now I'm going to move this into place here at this point. Now I've got to use my right arrow key to move it into place. And then, okay. Now I will be getting all of these to fade out. So I need to make sure I have, R is now a symbol, but I also need to make sure that there's a tween as well, because it will fade out. Good. Back to my exam paper. Turns out immediately after the text says move, the text should remain fully visible for 2 seconds. Okay. Must fade out. The timing for this should be 5 seconds. Okay. So for 2 seconds, I'm going to insert keyframe. And similarly, all of them must remain for 2 seconds. Insert keyframe. Insert keyframe. Okay, so it's the 2 seconds. Now at this point here, we can work with, well, we'll work with the, at the moment the rock is selected. And we have, I think it was 5 seconds for it to fade out, for each of these to fade out. So I'm going to 7 onto 12. I'm going to make this a little smaller. So 12, insert keyframe. I need to do the same for the other two. And insert keyframe. Okay, I'm going to go back to the back 5 seconds. I think it's just here. Back to 7. This point here, I need to check that all of these, I'm going to check, so I'm currently on rock layer, so I'm going to click on that there. Oops. And clicking on rock, I'm going to make sure that the, over on the right hand side, properties, the alpha, so color effect alpha, should be 100 at this stage, fully visible. And then, after 5 seconds, again clicking on the last frame here, see this at 12, I'm going to click on the symbol again, the rock, alpha should have faded out. Okay, going to repeat the same thing with the other two, back to 7, to ICT. Click on the ICT, the symbol is showing up so I can work with the properties for the symbol. Alpha. And it's a little bit curious here that it's at 0, so that's why you need to check this here. So back up to 100 at this stage. I'm going to go to the last one here and click on the ICT symbol again and fade out. Oh, it should be fully faded out. I'm going to do exactly the same for back to 7. Need to check again. Color effects, as I say, the alpha, you mightn't expect that it's showing at 0 at the moment, so I'm going to get this to 100. And then at this point here, no, I haven't difficulty. Okay, it's okay. This should, clicking on the R symbol again is important to click on it for the properties to show up, fade out. Let's see how that looks. Okay, they're starting to fade out. If you just look at that here. Okay, I'm going to lock all of these here because I don't want to make any mistakes or copy anything or drag something someplace else. Okay, back over to the exam paper. Remain should fade out. The time should be 5 seconds. Then we need the best must fade in at the center of the screen and then fade out. The text must be red in this case here, and again 5 seconds. So we're going from 12 to 17. The best red. Okay. So new layer again. And again, you can move these layers up and down. Just sometimes you might end up putting a layer in between others, but I'm going to put this here. So okay, first I'm going to click on the at this point here, and I'm calling this the best. I'm going to, this is where I'm going to insert keyframe here. We see at the moment, again, this here is a blank one. And this point here, I'm going to go over to the text box. And it's already read from the letter R, so I'm typing the best. I'm going to highlight this here. I'm going to drag this to the center. I'm going to use again, the alignment here to just make sure that it is central. Okay. And again, because we need this to fade out, we need to convert it to a symbol. Let me call it the best. Okay. And we need to make sure that there is to motion tween. Okay, and this is going to, at this point, it's going to, we'll go over to the properties and we'll go alpha. Maybe before I do that, maybe, so this is up to 17. I'll insert my keyframe. Okay, so go back to this point here. This stage, it should be fully visible. So clicking on the best symbol, none, alpha, 100. And after 5 seconds, click on the last frame, click on the symbol, 0. Okay, so we see it starts to fade out here. Okay, good. Going to save this. Go up here and save this here. It's a good idea to save throughout because it could easily lag or even crash on you. So back over to the exam paper. Next thing we need to do, we need 5 seconds. The logo must appear in the center. It must be small and must grow to fill the screen, and the timing must be 3 seconds. Okay, so that'll bring us from 17 up to 20 as they, yeah, this is what they ask in the next one. Okay, so back in here, new layer. Okay, we're going to new layer. I'm going to click on this here. We call this logo. Now you created a logo in the for the previous exercise. We're going to, again, at this point here, insert a keyframe. Okay, and then we need to bring in our logo. And here is the logo we made in the previous one. Okay. Again, if I wanted to work with sizes on the right hand side, I could do so, or I can just, at this point here, go over to, on the right hand side, click on the free transform tool here, so I can resize this here. Okay. Okay, so I'm just back over to the selection tool. I'm going to, because we're going to increase this in size, we need again to convert it to a symbol. We call it logo. And we need to insert our motion tween. And this should remain for, it was 3 seconds. Logo should remain for 3 seconds. So we're in 17 up to 20. Okay, insert keyframe again. This position here. At this position, it is this size. At this here, it should be, I'm going to click on this here, and I'm going to change in here the width and the height. I'll change this to 180. I'm over in properties at the moment, so by 180. Oh, I need to center this here. Okay, I'm even going to change the size here again to 120 or 200. 200. Again, centered. Okay, going back to the very beginning. I'm going to go in File and Save. I'm going to go back to the beginning and just play it. And I'm going to back to the paper. They ask us to save it in a suitable format for a website. You could save it as a GIF or export it as a GIF or as a MP4 or possibly also a MOV, but MP4 is probably the best option here. We're going to go here. This means we need to export it. So go down to video. You need to check this here. This is sometimes it can default to a different folder. So I'm going to go in here, make sure that I have got my October papers in here, and it needs to go in here. So as you see, it's saving it at the moment as a MOV file. That's the only option we have. So saving as a MOV or exporting as a MOV. So we've got to overwrite what's already there and then export. Once I click on export, this will cause, do you want to replace it? Let me say yes. This will cause Adobe Media Encoder to open at the bottom of the screen. Normally takes about 30 seconds to open, and then it'll encode or convert your MOV file to a MP4 file. So again, we just wait for a second for that to happen. While that's happening, we might just go back here. Again, if you want to look at some of the recommendations, I've mentioned these a number of times, so you might look at those here. Pause your video. And we see now at the bottom that the Adobe Media Encoder is displayed here. Again, I recommend clicking on this here. It should be in the right folder, but just click on this here. And we see above the top, so it is going into the right folder. This is fine. What I need to do then is on the top right, there's a little green arrow, so click on this here so you'll see it converting. Now be familiar with this screen as well. It's good practice. We go back into our folder, and we see that it's just been recreated here. If I go to View, Details, and the MP4, it's just been created. Okay, I hope that helps. Again, lots of practice. Even if you create it once, get it right, go back and practice and create it again. Thank you for watching.